You're listening to WKDW Radio 97.5 and KDWRadio.com, broadcasting from the Bishop West Real Estate Mobile Tower right here in absolutely gorgeous Northport, Florida. We just happen to have a very, very special guest in the house today. We're going to learn a little bit about public works and what's going on, Mr. Billy Carlson.
How's it going? Thanks for having me on.
I'm good, brother. How you doing?
Oh, pretty good. Just trying to get ready for Thanksgiving.
Are you all set up and ready to go?
Just about. Yeah, we've got most of our food already set aside. We usually wait till the end to get potatoes because, you buy them too soon and then they start sprouting. That's Thanksgiving is my holiday. In our household, there are very few rules that I have steadfast. There's no budging. And one of them is we don't break out the Christmas lights and decorations until after Thanksgiving.
So. Nice. Well, we've got a really cool event happening, and I'll start out by saying this: the Ohio State Michigan game this year. We have Thanksgiving, Black Friday, and then Kegs and Eggs at Twisted Fork for the Ohio State Michigan game, which is the chance to go to the Big Ten playoffs for either team that wins. Right. So talk about a big comeback story from a Michigan standpoint. It's been several years since they've been relevant, and their fans ought to show up like unbelievably strong this year. We've got 170 people right now signed up just to go to Kegs and Eggs, which is a breakfast that we have at Twisted Fork. And we're set up to hold 400.
Nice.
And where is Twisted Fork, John? Where is
Twisted Fork? Is right on Eljo Bean, next to Harley Davidson, Burt's, Black Widow, Harley Davidson. And by the way, Burt's Harley Davidson, that's their big blowout weekend for sales too. So it's just going to be an amazing event, not only with the sporting side of it, but with the motorcycle sales. It's been a great combination that we've had there. You've got Bert, who runs Bert's Harley Davidson, and then Bert of Bert's Black Widow. So I always tell both of those guys the beauty in the having Bert in control is the only one I ever knew of was Bert and Ernie. Now I got two Berts in the same spot. And it's been a blessing. He's got his brother who is a professional sound guy, Marcus, and Marcus does a fantastic job. You've got Heidi and CJ as the managers. They do a bang up job, and it's to have all these events there and coordinate all these things. It's amazing, but it's going to be a lot of fun. So I want everybody to have a happy Thanksgiving. We'll start out with that. 2, I want everybody to go shopping and do some Black Friday stuff. And I'm going to tell you what, there's some really good deals out there right now. They're already doing Black Friday deals. So you don't have to go out. You don't have to wait until the last minute. You can go out now and get her done. And then come and enjoy some football all weekend at Twisted Fork on Eljo Bean, and we'll have a great time.
Absolutely. I've been to Twisted Fork a couple of times. There's a lot of really good food. There's the first time we went, we were kind of surprised at how large the portions were. So I think the first time we went, I got the Monte Cristo there, and I mean, I had enough Monte Cristo for like 6 people.
It's amazing, they only have breakfast on Saturdays and Sundays, but we did last weekend. I did the breakfast bowl. And it was fantastic. And you're right. There's so much food there. It's well worth the trip down. But they also have unlimited Bloody Marys and mimosas from 8 to 11 for $15. So if you're just looking to go and relax and have a few drinks, they usually have live music out there too, about 10 or 11 o'clock. We're actually working right now for this event. I have a DJ lined up, so we're going to have a DJ on stage if we don't have live music, and I'm meeting with them tonight to clarify that too. So we actually might have live entertainment starting at 8 o'clock in the morning next Saturday or this Saturday. So it's a lot of fun. It's quite the place too. There's inside seating, outside seating, patio seating. The venue is amazing. They've got some great performers down that way, but it's really cool. It's just there it is, the Ohio State Michigan watch party in the pavilion. Slide back down to the 27th right there. That's it right there. So the biggest numbers that we've ever had, just to give some record setting stuff. The biggest records we've ever had for attendance is 275, 40 of which were Michigan fans. That was several years back. And then we had 108 for breakfast. We have 170 right now signed up for breakfast, and we're forecasting well over 400 for the game.
Fantastic. Yeah, my stepdad is a Michigan fan. He grew up in Michigan, and I keep busting his chops. When is Harbaugh going to win a big game? He's won plenty of football games there, but it seems like he never comes through in the big games.
Well, he won a big game last what was it, 2 weeks ago against Michigan State. He pulled that one off.
Well, Michigan State pulled that one out.
He did not.
They always find a way.
They came back at the end of that game. I'm sorry, that was 3 weeks ago, but he did beat Penn State.
Yes. Yep.
He beat Penn State, and that was a big one. I got to tell you, I love the fact that he's won a big one, and now that he's won that one, he doesn't need to win anymore. I'm good with him losing this Saturday, 100%.
Yeah, I asked my stepdad last year after Ohio State blew the doors out again. How many years do the alumni and the boosters and the administration put up with Harbaugh just losing like every big game they have a chance? I don't think he's beat Ohio State yet, but
one time.
It's got to be frustrating, I think, to watch your rival take off like they have and been in the playoffs how many times, and your coach, you generally have a pretty good team, but it seems like they have yet to have a truly great team.
I agree. This whole, it's a rivalry game, and things tend to get out of hand sometimes in a rivalry game. The beauty of what we've created is that the rivalry exists, but we are 100% buy-in on really embracing the rivalry by embracing whoever comes. So the only thing we ever ask, whether you're an Ohio State fan or a Michigan fan, if you show up, show respect.
Absolutely.
I mean, honest to God, we've had some really great events, and I think people need to learn that word, relearn that word. We've been social distanced, and we've been allowed to say and do whatever we wanted to do on social media. It isn't the time to come rebel rouse. Appreciate what we got. We've got one of the greatest rivalries in the world.
Sure.
And support your team, and if you lose, it's the same thing we got to do when we lose, and we lost earlier this year in our own house. We lost,
right.
And there's something about a humbling experience, and we all think it's the fans that need humbled. And I got to tell you, we've got a very young team, and for them to get humble and turn around and do what they've done, we've got freshmen all over our field, including our starting quarterback. So
right.
When you have a freshman quarterback who threw his first college pass this year,
right,
in college, you're going to have some bumps in the road.
Sure.
And there's something to be said for having good people, good support systems. Public Works, you guys have great support systems. You got great people. You've got your app. You've got all those things working. And I look at you guys like a team. And to draw everything back into why we were here today, because I know you didn't want to talk football. Well, maybe.
Oh, I could talk football all night.
But there's so many things that you can correlate with a good football Saturday that as long as you're treating everybody with respect, a lot of things can get done.
Sure.
We did let one of the organizations that we donate to, we probably now have, probably $2,000 or $3,000 worth of food to the food bank. We're sponsoring another 18 kids for Christmas this year as of right now. We already called Kiwanis and let them know. So there's a lot of good that comes out of a structured program, and we've really taken football rooting and college football and transformed it into really supporting the community and giving back. And we're in Florida, so we're giving back to Florida. We're not giving back to Ohio State because we're not an alumni group. We're actually a fan club, so we tend to get away with so much more because we're not organized under their umbrella.
Right. Right.
So we've given, we actually took care of one of the staff members down there, gave him the 50-50 money because he had a death in the family. And it's amazing when you start caring about people, maybe more than the event that you were at.
Right.
I think that's a trait that we all need to remember. We have a heart. So I'm going to stop talking about this event. I'm going to stop talking about this, but I'm going to say this. If you come out to this event, bring your good sportsmanship hat, have a good time, joke and have your fun, but don't get to the next level. Let's just keep it clean and really support the cause. And the cause really is giving back to the community. So, but anyway, tell me a little bit about what's happening at Public Works.
Well, we're plugging along with recycling is going pretty well. We're gonna have another video out this week on your common Thanksgiving items, what you should recycle, which one goes where, that kind of stuff. The baking trays, cranberry sauce, the cans for that, jars for turkey gravy, things like that. So look for that this week. Actually, this is Recycling Awareness Month. So if you are on our Facebook or Twitter, or Instagram, you have probably been completely inundated with recycling facts. I will say I have been poring over recycling facts for the better part of 3 or 4 weeks now, and just every day beating people over the head with all this cardboard and how much is recycled every year and what this means for the environment and how this is good for the environment, beyond just, we're making more paper from this paper, and what, the effect of recycling glass and recycling plastic and things like that. So it's been an interesting month coming up with facts every day. And I would say the most challenging part really has been coming up with artwork for all of these facts. There's only so many different ways you can picture a pile of cardboard or a group of trees.
True.
A bin full of plastic or paper and, things like that. So it's been an interesting month. I've actually learned a lot myself, and we've got another 9 days, 8 days to beat people over the head with more recycling facts. So this week we Thanksgiving themed recycling facts. We got some on how many, how much is spent on cranberry sauce every year for Thanksgiving. The number of green bean casseroles is apparently well over 40 million, which I didn't realize. But, when you think about how many households we have in this country, it kind of makes sense. Green bean casserole is kind of a staple.
And I've got to have my green bean casserole at Thanksgiving.
Yeah. So, that was my quest this morning, was to look up some more facts for Thanksgiving. And the one from this morning actually was, and you'll see it go live in about a half hour, 40 minutes or so. There is over 40 million green bean casseroles made every year for Thanksgiving. And so I went in to look up the recipe for that because I've never made it myself. So, I was uninformed. But, there's a can of cream of mushroom soup, typically a couple cans of green beans. Some people prefer to use fresh green beans, but those who do the can thing do a couple cans. And then you've got, some of the French's fried onions. And when you think about that, 40 million casseroles, and you've got at minimum 3 cans of some kind of product in this, that's over 100 million aluminum cans that could be recycled just from Thanksgiving week, which is kind of a mind-blowing number when you think about it. So those are the kind of things that I've kind of been learning and being blown away by as I've been looking up these recycling facts for the last month or so.
Well, having these facts, do you find that people, and obviously it shocked you a little bit, when you throw these things out there, even in a general conversation, do people kind of look at you like, is that true? Is that accurate? And do you get the sense that educational wise, you can like lead into other things?
Well, we've had several where I wish I could remember the specific one, but there was one about like how much paper we use and how much energy could be saved by simply recycling the paper instead of making it from fresh material. And we've had people comment that like they had no idea, and they're going to pay more attention to what they're recycling, and let their friends and family know. And some people who have voiced just general displeasure with the average person who really doesn't recycle as much as we would like. And the fact that that's coming from the residents, we're not going to come out. I'm not going to come out and shame people. We would like to encourage recycling and things like that. But if you're the type that you recycle what you can, but you don't always, I'm not here to tell you shame on you. You need to do this. Do it now. I'm here to provide the information for you and let you do what you will with it.
As you guys have done all these things over the last few years and made the adjustments to the different cans and the different pickups, as we get into the holiday season, and we are going to scoot right into holiday season again, another massive holiday, which is Christmas.
Yep.
How does that work out with scheduling of trash pickup, bulk pickup, things like that? And what would you recommend people do to maybe check their dates, make sure everything's on task?
Well, as usual, we've got the Recycle Coach app that if you have it, or you can use it, we've got the app on the website as well, where you go in and put in your information that you can, especially with a week like this week where there's a day we're not going to collect, which is obviously Thanksgiving, you can make sure you're putting your stuff out on the right day. Remember that your bulk collection is going to be the same day as your regular garbage day. So those are ways you can kind of make sure that you're putting stuff out the right days. If you're going to get a bulk collection, you can make sure you call ahead of time. And one thing that I'm not sure people realize, when I was at the Newcomers Day recently at GMAC, the one thing people were kind of surprised to learn is that if you have, and this is especially relevant for Christmas season and Black Friday and Cyber Monday, if you have an inordinate amount of cardboard boxes, we all have that one weekend or that one holiday where we just go completely ham. And, you've got 3, 4, 5 boxes coming to your house every day for a week. Obviously, that's not always going to all fit in your bin. If you've got the largest bin and you still don't have enough room, you still need more, you can set it aside, set it on the roadside, call public service or public works customer service and tell them you need a courtesy cardboard collection and we will come and collect it for free. It doesn't count as one of your bulks. It is just, as long as it is straight cardboard, we are willing to collect it for free. And, as we've said before, recycling is one of the few things where we are bringing money back. And so anything we can do to encourage that as much as we can, instead of just tossing, your wrapping paper, instead of just tossing your boxes, that all these products that you're ordering online on Friday, over the weekend, Cyber Monday, if you've got too much, set it out roadside. Call us, say, hey, I need a courtesy cardboard collection, and we will arrange to come pick it up for free.
Man, that would be kind of a cool thing to do if you were in a gated community or a smaller community, that you had a good active community person that said, listen, we know where our bins are going to get filled. So take all your cardboard, stack it the day after Christmas, put it out on the curb. I'm calling right now to schedule the day after Christmas as a pickup. And man, that would save a lot of headache for a lot of people.
Absolutely. And I mean, I know we had, I believe, the smallest bins for a while at our house, and in large part that was plenty of space. We don't go too crazy with cardboard boxes and stuff like that, and the commingle stuff is typically the small bin is perfectly fine for what we do. But we found every year around somebody's birthday or Christmas or Black Friday, things like that, we had just this massive pile of boxes, and then we would kind of break it down and put a little bit out at a time, and before you know it, it's been a month after Christmas, and we still got boxes that we're trying to get out. And I know we're not the only ones that have that issue. So, again, that's something where, and like you said, if you've got an active community and they want to call ahead for everybody and say, hey, we're over here in Lakeside Plantation, and we know everybody's got boxes. Can you please? We're just going to schedule everybody. It's not a terrible idea. We know that people are going to have extra cardboard, and again, as long as it's just cardboard, it's free of other debris. We want to encourage people to put it out, and we would like to collect it for free.
And I know we've really talked about this a lot, but I want to highlight it again because you use the magical words. We bring money back in. That is really why you can go the extra mile now and go do these pickups, is because the revenue that you're bringing in from that really covers that expenditure, and with the amount of money that we're bringing back in also holds the potential costs that are put back onto the community through either tax dollars or other resource. It really aids in all that, and because we have it down to a science, it's not a loss for us, is it, if you go out and pick up these items? Correct.
And that's every bit at this point, every bit of clean recycling that we're bringing in is bringing us back money. We've been at I believe a contamination rate of like less than 1%, maybe 2 tops. So our contamination fees at the recycling center have been minimal. And so we want to keep continuing to encourage people to recycle as much as possible, because it's, again, the garbage, the tipping fees at the landfill, it's not something we have control of. And with the city growing as much as it is, I believe Frank said we have like 157 or 175 new accounts for solid waste just in the last month. That's an insane level of growth, and getting rid of that garbage is going to cost money. And as long as the city keeps growing, the cost to dispose of garbage is going to keep going up, and we don't have control of that. We can't just go, well, it's been a tough week. We don't want to pay as much as we're paying, so we're just not going to collect it this week. It's something we have to do. So anything we can do to offset that, even a little bit, every penny counts. Anything we can do to offset even a little bit is we're trying to encourage.
So I want to talk a little bit about the new city manager. Okay. I have not had the pleasure of meeting him in person yet. I'm looking forward to that. I really don't want to do it unless he's on my show, and I'd like to meet him in person on the show. Because I think a lot of people need to feel that same respect. And I think it's a good thing. I don't like to prep anyway. And I want to talk to him, but I want to come at this from a different angle with you pertaining to him.
Okay.
I know he comes from a different area of the country, and have you guys met with him yet to discuss the recycling plan or the recycling situation and why it's so valuable to Northport?
I'll be honest, I'm not sure if Frank has met with him. I've met with him a couple times just on communications, based ideas on the website, and the consistent message we want to put out as a group, as a communications team. But I can't say with certainty that Frank has had a chance to sit down with him and talk to him about the solid waste and recycling program. But
with what you have worked with him on, do you find him to be highly encouraged by the information you guys are providing on what we're doing with recycling?
Absolutely, absolutely. And actually, I just heard back one of our communications leaders on Friday let me know that she'd been talking to him, and he mentioned the recycling posts that we've been doing for the last, three or so weeks, and he's been highly encouraged. He likes what he's seeing, and we're pushing the recycling facts and encouraging recycling, and from what I've been told, he's been pleased by that.
Awesome. So, and I'm going to leave it on politics here for just a few minutes because we really never delve into this, but I want to draw it all together.
Okay.
We've got 5 city commissioners and 1 city manager. The relationship that Public Works and yourself have with all 5 city commissioners and the new city manager, how would you classify that?
I think we've got a pretty good working relationship. We obviously, the commissioners are the governing body for solid waste and road and drainage. So, we kind of work at their directive. I believe Frank has a meeting with the commissioners tomorrow to talk about a transfer station. And, I think all the preliminary conversations have been, cordial, have been pretty well. So we'll find out how that meeting goes. I think the big thing is Frank has been able to provide results. And the biggest thing with politics and when you're a commissioner or you're a senator, whatever level of government you're elected into, the people that voted for you want to see results. And the fact that Frank has been able to give them results, they were iffy on a transfer station a while back, and then Frank went and got the recycling transfer station and showed them that, listen, this can work when we're consolidating loads, and, we can bring the operating costs down when we're not running the trucks back all the way to Sarasota and back. We're keeping them in town, and then we're just running one big truck. With the yard waste transfer station, he's been able to provide results. These are ways we're saving the city money. And so I do believe there's a mutual respect there.
And it's an earned respect too.
Correct.
That to me, that's one of the best forms of respect you can give when you earn it. Frank is definitely a guy, when we've had him on the show, who, no matter who he talks to and where, and I'm going to stretch that out even anywhere in the nation, if they're on the phone with Frank about recycling, I don't know that there's too many people out there right now that have the expertise in the field that he has, that has actually performed.
Right. Absolutely. I mean, the things he's been able to do since he's been with solid waste, I believe he said next week it'll be 21 years. He's put a lot of good initiatives together. Instead of having trucks go back and forth down the street twice, putting everything on one side so they're making one pass, things like that. The recycling center, the yard waste center, all these things Frank has been able to put in place to kind of optimize the way we do things. And so
go ahead.
I think he's earned himself a lot of respect. Even from commissioners that might have been doubtful going in, I don't think you'll have speak to any of them, even behind closed doors, that would have, an ill word to say about him.
And I'm gonna go there. I'm gonna keep the expertise side of it for a second, but I want to go on the other hand and say, how do we get more people? And we're not at 100% of participation in recycling.
Right.
How can we get more people to listen to what we're talking about and build a good consensus of why the importance is out there? It's the hardest. This is the hardest question that I have to ask a lot of organizations that are out there, and I've been asking it now for a while, and I'm going to continue to ask it because I think until we all start talking about why people don't participate, we're never going to get them to switch.
Right.
Why? And I asked somebody the other day to give me the top 10 reasons why somebody didn't do something, and he says, "Well, I never looked at it that way." Well, and he's got to come back with 10 reasons. Okay.
Right.
Why do you, and I'm not going to put you on the spot for 10. Why do people not participate in a recycling program? And I know that I am putting you on the spot. You've only been less than a year, right?
Correct. Yep.
And so this is not just your only issue. But if you had to guess it at 5, what are 5 reasons? I'll give you one. It's laziness.
Sure.
Okay. And I'll let you take the other 4.
Well, it's the $1 million question. I know in speaking to people on Newcomers Day, there were some people that legitimately didn't know, on certain topics. Some people who didn't realize just how much cardboard, again, the bulk cardboard collection, didn't realize that we offer that. And that's something we've tried to communicate, but not everybody's on Facebook, not everybody's on Twitter, not everybody's on all the social media. And even if they are, it doesn't guarantee they see every post. One of the things that people have been unsure of is like things like pizza boxes. I spoke to a guy at Newcomers Day who said, absolutely not, right? They're not recyclable. And I said, actually, it's a matter of how clean is the pizza box. If it's not soiled by grease, then absolutely we'll take it. And if half of it is and half of it isn't, we'll take the half that doesn't have grease. And he said, you know what? I'm going to go home. I'm going to take that pizza box right out of my trash can. And so some of it is just legitimately people don't know. And others, I think just some people just don't care. There's a general apathy, and I don't know how to get through with some of those. Some people just don't see the value to recycling. They just think, well, it's easier to just toss it all in the trash. It's all going to the same place anyway. And it's even on posts where we're educating people on, this is actually recyclable. This we'll take, this we won't. And, we made a post, I want to say a month or 2 ago about if you have more recycling material than will fit in your bins on a regular basis, you can call us and get an extra recycling bin free of charge. And, we had some people who reacted and said, well, I don't see the point, so I'm just throwing everything away.
Right.
And I mean, we can put all the information out there and let you know that recycling not only is cheaper than garbage disposal, but it's bringing money back to us. If you choose to read that information and you still take away, well, it's not worth it, I'm just going to throw it away. I don't know how we crack that nut. That's the $1 million question. I think some of it is just a general apathy.
I love the fact that we always talk about things moving forward. Okay. And recycling in Northport is a highlight for our town. It is something, it's a bragging rate. And people, I think that's the point that they're not hearing is we actually should be pounding our chest about the recycling program that we have in Northport. And I often wonder, because, we have all kinds of people out there who are for different types of organizations. We've, Alice White for the trees and different organizations out there for the natural side of things. And do we have, and I have to ask this because I've never asked you this and been doing it for 2 years, and I've never run into anybody who runs a group that's into recycling besides Public Works. is there a group of people out there, an organization that maybe we should be tapping into on this show and get them involved too, or is there a lack of that?
I'll be honest, I'm not aware of a local organization. I know there's a website called Recycle Across America, a spot where I've been getting some of the recycle facts. But that's the lack of participation. I wish we could just say, well, it's a local issue and we can fix it. We can beat people over the head, but it's really not. If you look up recycling efforts, there's a national drive of people trying to push more people to recycle, and we can put all these facts. I mean, there's no less than 20 websites on the internet with just general recycling facts.
Right.
Using recycled cardboard saves like 50% of the energy it would take to make cardboard from new materials. And there's, like 8 billion boxes every year or something that are shipped. And that's all stuff that could be recycled. And unfortunately, it's just past the local scope. It's a national issue. There's just not. It seems participation it's a national issue, and there's a constant push to get people to recycle more. And maybe that's something we can look into, tapping a local organization to help push the effort.
And here's why I think we're different. Okay, I'll take us on as a national scale, but I've learned a lot from you guys. I've learned that there is a huge benefit in our community, ours, not south, not north, ours, for recycling. Right. And because we're so strong at it, throw a number out of how much we've offset.
Okay.
I know the number, because I'm going to take us down that road again, but throw a number out there. I want people to hear the number that changes thought process.
Okay, so let's take last year, for example, October through September. It cost us, I believe, $45 or $48 a ton to dispose of waste at the landfill. For the year, I want to say might have been, I don't remember the exact tonnage, but for the year for recycling, we brought back, at the end of the year, I think we netted a positive 30,000. Think about, I believe it was 2 or 3 years ago, Frank, that we paid out like 900,000 to dispose of recycling material. To go to 30,000 in the positive, that's almost $1 million swing by recycling right. And some of that is there's more of a secondary market now than, even
it was
2 or 3 years ago.
Yep.
But I believe as long as the recycling material is still there, the market should stay there. As long as recycling efforts are strong, there's going to be a market for recycling materials.
And so I'm going to ask you this. And this is why I think we're separate. This is why I think we should be pounding our chest. This is why I think we should be rallying the troops to make them understand we can double that number. We could double that number, could we not?
Sure. I mean, it's feasible.
100%. Because I bet that we have less than 50% of true dedication into recycling in our city.
I wouldn't know the exact participation percentage offhand. We would have to, maybe run an analysis on that to see what percent we're taking from certain areas and what percent we're not getting from other areas. But
do we have that capability of drawing that data?
I guess it's conceivable. I mean, we've got the GIS capabilities around the city.
I'd just be curious because
I would be interested for sure.
I think it's you talked about your stats. You talked about all those numbers about casserole dishes and things like that. To me, I think the biggest number we should be talking about is the money we're not putting in the can.
Right.
And we talk about the money we put in the can. What's left that we got to capture? What is that difference? Is that something that you could work on, and maybe we could do a show on it with Frank?
I will talk to Frank
because I think
between these holidays and see what we can dig into as far as what percentage of recycling we're getting from what neighborhoods. And I know there are certain areas where we don't have a lot of success recycling. There are homes that we come down the road and the recycling cans are all full of garbage. And I think that's one of those things. If you've got 3 cans full of garbage and no cans full of recycling,
something's wrong.
That's our percentages are off there. That's 2 full cans worth of recycling opportunity that we're just not getting.
I think, and this is just me talking out loud. I think if we had the capability of knowing what that number was, and we were able to market it the right way, I think it changes people's mindset. Now, some of those households you're talking about, we're not going to get to them. We're not going to get to them. And I'm not talking about those groups of people. And the odds of changing some of those styles are feasible with the right education.
Sure.
But it's really tough. And what we're talking about is not a door-to-door campaign.
Right.
Right. And so you're making impacts on a radio show. You're making impacts on the website. You're making impacts where you can talk to people at Newcomers Day, things like that. Those are impacts that's an immediate turnaround.
Exactly.
It really is. But think about it. Most of the people that come to Newcomers Day, are they looking to change habits? Yeah. They're interested in the city. It's the people that aren't coming to events like that really sit back and go, well, I don't have to worry about it. It's just trash.
Exactly.
Well, if they're a taxpayer, that's a different conversation. If we knew how much money we could then capture if they participated.
Right.
And I'm going to love to have this conversation because, one, I love having Frank on because there's always a completely different twist to anything that we ever discuss. And I'm not saying we discuss bad things because most of our information, where do we get it, Frank?
Exactly. Yeah. It's funny. We had a recent day where the kids had off of school. I can't remember which day it was now. But we had off from work too. And might have been Columbus Day. But I happened to see Frank out in public. I took the kids to the grocery store to get cookies and stuff. Or they actually had school, but I took the time to get them cookies before school and stuff. And, saw Frank and he said, "Hey, how's it going?" And my kids were like, "Hey, who's that?" And I was like, "That guy." I said, "That guy knows more about recycling and garbage than anybody I've ever met." I said, "When we make these videos, that's why he's in front of the camera and I am behind the camera, because he probably will forget more facts about recycling and garbage than most people will know."
Right.
I mean, he's an incredible wealth of knowledge.
So I'm thinking with 21 years under his belt, a commitment to really taking public works to a different level on all the recycling programs, and he's doing it.
Yep.
And he's got the support of commissioners. He's probably got the ear of the city manager, or will have by the time he's done.
Sure.
Because the one thing that you said that's so valuable to success is everything he touches turns to gold.
Exactly. He's got
and it's because he's really educated on how to change things, and we're progressive enough to understand maybe this is a great idea.
Right.
And we've got enough programs around us that are failing when it comes to our standard.
Right. Right. I know one of the local governments around us is actually sending out surveys to their residents, and they're talking about recycling less. And would the residents be interested in that? And I'm like, how is that an option? I mean, with the way for us, it seems inconceivable that we would say, hey, you know what we should do? We should recycle less. We should definitely collect material less often. How does everybody feel about that? With the level of success we've had and with the ability to bring money back, I just don't understand how recycling less would be feasible.
Well, I'm going to tell a little quick story because it was 21 years ago when we moved down from Ohio. I got hired on at Sarasota Memorial. My wife already worked there. I walked in to the orientation, sat down, and Dr. Duncan Finley was the CEO of the hospital. And he walked in, did his presentation. About 6 months after that, I'm walking down the hall. Now, I'm not a CEO. I wasn't a CEO back then. And I was walking down the hallway, and I'm watching him walk down the hall. Looked like a normal guy walking down the hall. Nobody, turning their heads, nobody doing anything. And I watched him, and he was walking towards the elevator, and I saw him just looking at people. Never said a word. Walked over, bent over, picked up the piece of trash off the aisleway, and walked over and put it in the trash. Never said one word to a staff member. Changed my direction in a hurry. Not because I wasn't racing to pick it up, not because I wouldn't have picked it up, but because to see somebody lead by example.
Right.
To see someone of his stature not grab an aid and say, listen, you just walked by that, pick that up. He just walked over and picked it up and put it in the trash can. I've never forgotten that. And the reason that I bring that up is we're leading by example.
Right.
We are doing things by example. I think we have room to improve it. And you wouldn't be doing this job, and Frank wouldn't be doing this job if he thought his job was done. He'd be bored out of his mind.
Right. Right. One thing I can tell you is Frank is never bored out of his mind.
I'm taking us down. Listen, we're going down that path because at the end of the day, the challenge is real. Okay. And the challenge isn't, are we okay doing what we're doing today? The challenge is, what can we do better tomorrow? And I know with a teammate like Frank, who is challenging himself and staff every day, I think he does it by lead. I don't think he does it by pounding his fist and getting his point across. I think the man leads the path, and that's why he's got the respect. And you tell me what your thought is, and I'll let you have a couple minutes there. But go ahead.
Well, I completely agree, and I know, having talked to a few of these solid waste supervisors, they feel the same way. The thing, Frank is not going to ask them to do something that he's not done himself before. Right? Yep. I think that's the big thing is a good sign of leadership is not someone who says, well, I don't want to do that, so you do it. It's being willing to do, asking people to do something that you've done, you've been willing to do. Whether it's cleaning the streets after a hydraulic spill or, something like that, picking up trash. If we had an issue with one of the fire trucks and we had to, or one of the garbage trucks and we had to dump it, he's not leaving until the area is clean. So speaking with the supervisors, they feel the same. They know that, if push comes to shove, Frank's out there, he's getting his hands in the dirt. And he's got that respect. We've
got about four or 5 minutes left, maybe four. But I think we need to throw a challenge down. I think we need to find those community people who, and I don't want to throw them under the bus. They have their own causes. Okay.
Sure.
I'm wondering, of the group of people out there that have the cause, I'm doing it for the nature of the earth. I'm just wondering where they're at. The recycling program seems to me a great way to catapult yourself into, and I'm always been confused by the recycling side of it, because I asked that question of you earlier because I don't know of a group that totally focuses on recycling to save the earth.
Right.
There are organizations out there, but we have no one local doing that. We're collecting plastics out of the ocean because we were dumping them there. We were, and hurricanes come through and that sweeps them in, and people wonder where all the stuff went. It's in the bottom of the ocean. I'm sure that our ocean water has more in it than we want to know about.
Sure.
And we're attacking that now more than we have ever done before. But I'm wondering why a lot of these organizations that are out there that claim to be for nature aren't wrapping their hands around this issue and maybe using this to catapult their other cause.
Sure.
Because I think they work hand in hand.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll tell you one recycling fact that actually pitches to that. And I'll get the exact number here, but the recycling of cardboard, right, gets, if I can just find it real quick, takes like 50% less, causes 50% reduction in the production of, okay, here we go. Recycling cardboard produces 50% less sulfur dioxide than making cardboard from raw materials. So sulfur dioxide, number one, is awful for your lungs. If you're breathing that in, you're going to have major respiratory issues. And B, contributes heavily to acid rain, which maybe it's not something you're dealing with on a daily basis, but it ruins the environment.
Right.
It ruins natural habitats. It's not so recycling. If you can recycle cardboard, and again, the holidays are coming up, how many of us are going to have 30, 40 boxes that we get from, buying gifts for others buying gifts for us? You open up Christmas Day, you've got, Barbie boxes, G.I. Joe boxes, Lego boxes, video game system boxes, TV boxes. If we can recycle that and reduce the production of sulfur dioxide, it's something that you wouldn't necessarily think of. Oh yeah, they're going to make cardboard anyway. What does it matter? If the recycling process produces less of that, that's A, better for us, because who the hell wants to breathe that in?
Right.
And B, it's better for our environment. So it's not just, oh, hey, Northport can make money off of this. Northport can make money off recycling this cardboard. It's also good for the environment.
Right. Listen, I love the show. I love what we talked about because we went down the same path, different look inside the window.
Sure.
I love the fact that we got this information out. We've got to go, but I truly appreciate you being on. If people need to contact you and ask, how can we recycle? What do we need to do? What do they need to do?
Well, they can reach out to me at W Carlson, CARLSON at cityofnorthport.com. And my desk line is 941, if I can find the extension, 240-8077.
Awesome. Hey, thank you so much. Check out the website, which is?
That would be cityofnorthport.com.
Yep, check it out. You guys enjoy your holiday. Be safe. Billy, thank you so much for being on. I appreciate your time, my friend, and we'll talk to you next month. And
Absolutely.
tell Frank I said, hey, I'm a fan of his.
Will do.